Join now and save up to 25% off your first year. Do this. Go to lifelock.com/scan. Use the promo code RUSH. That's lifelock.com/scan. Promo code RUSH for 25% off.
When you get in your car this afternoon, tune to News Talk 105.9 Lake Norman, 100.7 Greater Statesville, and get the latest breaking news and weather for your commute.
The following program is presented by Tracy Alston of New Mentality PC and Mental Edge Fitness Solutions.
Hey, this is Tracy Alston with Mental Fitness Matters. This show is designed to provide people with tips, strategies, and solutions to improve your mental fitness. This is Mental Fitness Matters. Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. You are listening to Mental Fitness Matters. I am your host, Tracy Alston, and this is WSIC Radio. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone out there has been having an amazing week. I had a really awesome time this past weekend, spending time with my family. We had a chance to celebrate my dad's 68th birthday, so it's always good anytime you get a chance to interact and spend time with family. So we had a blast. I also have a 7-year-old niece, and she is the cutest thing ever, and she just recently got a hamster. And it's funny because I haven't had a hamster. I think I was right out of college the last time I had a hamster. But we were home this weekend. We had the hamster out. And if anybody knows anything about hamsters, they love when they're in their cage. They love running on their wheel. Or if they're out of their cage, they love being in their ball. Okay, so if you have a hamster, make sure you have a ball. We had a ball watching her just run all throughout the house in this ball. And the reason why I'm telling this story is because there was times where she was running in the house and she would be running from the hardwood to carpet. Right. So she was running in the ball, running from hardwood to carpet. And there would be times when she got to the carpet where she got stuck. And I watched her for a few minutes. She was pushing against the ball, pushing against the ball, pushing against the ball. It wasn't moving. She was stuck. And so in that moment, I was like, should I pick her up, turn her around and see if she can go the other way? I said, no, I'm just going to watch and see what happens. So I watched her for a few minutes and she just stopped. Instead of pushing against the ball, going nowhere, she stopped. And after she stopped for a few minutes, she started to push the ball in the other direction. And I watched her notice that when she pushed the ball in the other direction, she started to pick up speed and momentum to turn the ball around, to come back over the carpet and clear it. Once she cleared it and figured out what she needed to do, every time she got to that next hump, so she got to the hardwood again, came up against the carpet, got stuck. Instead of her spending 2 to 3 minutes of time pushing against that ball, being stuck, it took her maybe about 10 to 15 seconds. She remembered that she had practiced turning a different direction, picking up speed and momentum, coming back around, coming over that hump, clearing the carpet. I was so fascinated by watching that because not only the intelligence of our animals, the intuitiveness of our animals and pets, but it just made me think about some things as what we do as human nature, right? I saw ourselves as humans in that situation, in that moment. How many times have we been stuck in something? Whether it's a thought, it's an idea, it's a feeling, it's a relationship, it's a job. How many times have we felt stuck and we're pushing against this thing that's not moving anywhere? We're pushing, and there's no movement. And so we wind up feeling frustrated, we're stressed out, we're overwhelmed, we're ready to quit, throw in the towel. But we're pushing against this thing that has no movement. And so when I watched that observation, just watching that hamster play, work out in that ball, come to a place and get stuck, but then figure out how to kind of pivot and turn in another direction and pick up speed and momentum somewhere else, then come back over that obstacle and clear it. It made me think about the topic that I want to talk about today, the power of being deliberate in our practices and really giving us tips to get unstuck by shifting your energy and your focus. Okay, so I want to talk about that today. If you're ever feeling stuck, if you've ever felt stuck, if you feel stuck right now, whether it's in your job, it's in your health, whatever it is, I want to give you some tips and some strategies on how to get unstuck by simply shifting your energy and your focus. All right. But before I get into that, I want to just welcome all of my first-time listeners. If you are just tuning in for the show for the very first time, this is the Mental Fitness Matters Show. I'm your host, Tracy Alston, and this show is designed to provide you guys with tips, strategies, and solutions on how to improve your mental health and your mental fitness. You can always go over to podcasts and download and subscribe to Mental Fitness Matters Podcast and download to my YouTube channel at tracyalston.com. That way you can always upload and you never miss the show. All right. So let's get into it. The power of deliberate practice. like I said, when I was watching her hamster, it just made me think about, we have to begin to acknowledge that as humans, we're going to get stuck. There are going to come points in our lives in something that we're doing that we feel like we can't move any further with it, all right? We don't know what else to do. We're stuck in this place. But in our stuckness, we continue to practice that thing, that thought, or that behavior with little to no success, right? That can start to create a negative spiraling of outcomes. Whatever that is that we're doing, we are continuing to practice that thing, that thought, or behavior. Okay. And so what I think about over my years of life, I've really just learned more and more to value and appreciate the value of practice. And I can just remember as a student, a former athlete, and now as an entrepreneur, there's so much value in practicing. And I'm not just talking about practice, because there's a difference, and I'm going to talk about that as well. There's a difference between just practicing and being deliberate in your practice. Okay. Practice makes progress. Practice makes progress. I know people probably thought I was going to say practice makes perfect, but no, the goal is never perfection. It's progress, guys. And I think that's where we miss it. It's not perfection. It's progress. My dad says it all the time, progress, not perfection. My background is in mental health and brain performance. And I think what people don't realize when it comes to the brain, it's a muscle, and everything we do is training it. Every single moment, every single thought, every single behavior, every single feeling, that's a brain responsibility. And we're training and practicing it with every single thing that we do. There's an area in science called neuroplasticity. And that's where every single time you do something, you're creating a new connection in your brain, or you're strengthening an existing connection in your brain. Okay, so think about that. Every time you do something, you are in practice. Whether you're picking up your phone, whether you're eating, whether you're exercising, whether you're watching TV, whether you're sitting in front of the TV and you have an automatic response to pick up your phone and scroll through social media, that practice is now turned into a habit. You're just doing something because that's just what you're used to doing. So it's important to know that your brain is responsible for everything that you do, okay? And the next couple of weeks, I'm actually going to do a series around the brain and ways that you can actually train your brain from the comfort of your own home to get stronger. I'm going to do a series on that because I think it's important for us to really understand our brain's potential and how we can do some things right now to change some of the patterns and the behaviors and the thoughts and the feelings that we have. But you need to know, in our stuckness, we continue to practice, and sometimes we're unknowingly creating a practice of non-productive habits, behaviors, and thoughts. All right, so I want to help us get out of that. And I want to start that by defining the difference between practice and being deliberate in your practice, okay? So regular practice might just include a mindless repetition. Like I just said, every time you eat something, every time you turn on the phone or exercise, every time you do some type of movement or scrolling through social media, you're engaging in a practice and a training of some sort, okay? You might not be looking for anything in particular. You're just practicing a behavior. Every time you have a thought, every time you have a feeling, every time you have a behavior, you're practicing those things. So you have to ask yourself, are the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that I'm having right now, are those the things that I want to get better at? I'm going to give you an example. So I love sports. I'm a former athlete. There's a difference between practice and being deliberate. If I'm practicing putting up shots in the gym, let's say I'm going to the gym to just put up shots. I want to get some shots in today. If I just show up to the gym and I'm just getting my reps in to say I've practiced, yeah, I've practiced. But if I'm not deliberate in my form, if I'm not showing up with a specific goal, if I'm just showing up to say I've practiced, I'm practicing. Just like the hamster. She was pushing against the ball, but she wasn't going anywhere. So it wasn't like she wasn't working. It wasn't like she wasn't efforting. She was doing something, but she was going nowhere. So I can show up to that gym and just put in the reps. But if I'm coming in with a raggedy form, if I'm coming in non-intentional, I'm just practicing, right? So you got to ask yourself, are the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that I'm having right now, are those the things that I want to get better at? Because believe it or not, you're rehearsing it every single day, whether you know it or not. The thoughts that you're thinking about going into work, the thoughts that you're having about yourself, those repeated thoughts that you have, that's a practice. It's a rehearsal. So are you okay with that? So ask yourself that question. So when we start to feel stuck, for the topic for today, being stuck, when you're feeling stuck, what comes to mind for you? What's that feeling when you're stuck in something? Okay, ask yourself right now, when you normally kind of come up against something and you're stuck, what does that feel like? Does it feel like frustration? Does it feel like stress? Does it feel like overwhelmment? Does it feel like I'm a failure? I don't know why I'm still doing this. Whatever that is, just know right now in your stuckness, whatever you've attached to that, you're practicing what you're saying to yourself about being stuck. But what if we started to create a mindset of deliberate practice? What if we started to create a mindset of deliberate practice? Let me tell you what deliberate practice means. Deliberate practice means something with a purpose or a focused attention. It's done with a specific goal of improving performance. Let me say that one more time. Deliberate practice means with a purpose and a focused attention. And it's done with a specific goal of improving performance. So I'm going to go back to that example about going into the gym. If I'm showing up to the gym with the idea of getting better, and I want to get at least hit 25 out of 30 free throws, I'm more deliberate in how I step up to the free throw line. If I want to make sure my form is the way it needs to, I'm going to start to practice a behavior or a pattern that's going to get me the desired result, right? Because remember, I came into the gym before just throwing up shots. I don't know how many I hit. Don't know how many I knocked down. But now I'm coming in deliberately saying, I'm going to go 25 for 30. I'm going to make sure my form is where it needs to be. Athletes of all sports, if they're trying to improve power, if they're trying to improve speed and agility, if they're trying to improve strength and conditioning, there are certain exercises that their coaches are going to have them doing to get that result. They're not going to just show up and train. You can train, but you could be training in the wrong way and just spending time training with little to no movement. So becoming deliberate could mean in any area of your life. It could be in your mood. You could start to create a deliberate practice in your thinking, right? So if you're always thinking of yourself as a failure or something else, you can get deliberate about some of the thoughts you want to have. Start to practice a different thing that you're saying to yourself. You can start getting deliberate in your sleep schedule and your sleep cycle. So think about this. What if you created a mindset of deliberate practice and you thought about everything that you're doing in your life right now as practicing or training for something? Because it is. Whether you know it or not, that's what you're doing. What if you wanted to decide to now deliberately practice going to bed at a decent hour? What if you wanted to start deliberately practicing making one healthy choice a day? What if you wanted to deliberately start practicing how you react or respond to the stressors of the world around you right now? What if you got deliberate in how you practice on, I'm going to be intentional about moving my body in some way today? Okay. What if everything in your world right now became a practice which began to allow the opportunity for progress? Practice makes progress. So what I want to do is give you guys an acronym, something that I do very often, that I've become intentional and deliberate about for my own lifestyle. I'm very deliberate in things that I do. So I want to give you guys an acronym to help get you unstuck, to shift your energy and your focus. It's going to be SOS. So you're going to call out for your own help here, okay? Your SOS. Your S is going to mean stop, all right? So when you find yourself stuck in whatever it is, if it's in an idea, if it's in a business plan, if it's in a relationship, if it's in your health, if you find yourself stuck, I want you to just give yourself permission to pause for a moment, okay? I'm going to go back to that hamster example. Remember, I said she was running from hardwood to carpet. She got to the carpet, she got stuck. She was pushing against the ball, pushing against the ball, pushing against the ball, going nowhere, right? She was literally stuck. I could have helped her out, but I didn't. I wanted to see what she was going to do. She was stuck. So after a few minutes, she just stopped. So I want you guys to give yourself permission to do the same thing, because in her stopping, it allowed herself to pause and just think. She recognized, I'm not going anywhere. I'm exerting all of this energy, all of this focus, all of this effort. It's not moving. Give yourself permission to stop. Okay? The next letter is O. After you stop, I want you to begin to observe and acknowledge how this stuckness or this thing is making you feel right now. All right? Ask yourself, are the feelings, the thoughts, and the behaviors that I'm having right now, are these the things that I want to get better at? Okay? So after you stop, I want you to take a pause and say, okay, how do I feel right now? I'm stuck. I'm frustrated. I'm stressed out. I'm tired. I want to throw in the towel. Observe how you feel. Acknowledge how you feel. Be okay to feel how you feel in that moment. Then ask yourself, is this a behavior or a thought or a feeling that I want to continue? right? I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Do I want this to continue? And you'll probably say no if it's not feeling so good. So observe that, acknowledge that, and feel that. Ask yourself, is this what I want to continue? Because no matter what it is, you're practicing it, and it's becoming now a practice, habit, routine. We want to pause that. All right. So after you observe how you feel and you acknowledge, if I want to keep this feeling rolling, next thing I want you to do is this last S. So it's SOS. Stop, observe, and acknowledge. Then I want you to shift. The last S is for shift. I want you to practice shifting your energy and your focus onto a different place. All right. Something that's going to give you some positivity, some speed and momentum in a different direction, that's going to allow for some movement. All right. I want you to shift your energy into a place of positivity or something that's fun, something that's not requiring as much effort and work right now. OK, that example about that hamster. Remember, the hamster was pushing against the carpet. She wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't until she stopped and started to push the ball in a different direction that she recognized she was picking up speed. As she started to pick up speed in a different direction, she had everything she needed to cross over that hump. And it wasn't from her effort pushing on the thing that was getting her stuck. It was from turning her focus into a different direction. So what I want you to do is shift your energy and your efforting into a different place. OK, so let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Let's say you're working on a weight loss goal. I'm going to use weight loss because everybody is always questioning or talking about their weight in some way. They're way too much or not enough. So we're going to use weight loss as an example here for you to use this tool. Let's say you're working on a weight loss goal and every time you step on the scale, it hasn't moved. So envision yourself as that little hamster right now, and your obstacle is your weight. And so every time you step on that scale, you're noticing it hasn't gone anywhere. So envision yourself as that little hamster pushing on that ball against that carpet and you're not moving, right? What I want you to do in that is stop the focus right now on the number on the scale. Stop the focus on the number on the scale, because observe how that's making you feel. In that stuckness, you're probably feeling like, what's the point? I've been working out for the last 3 weeks and I get on the scale now. I gain weight. I haven't lost weight. What's my point here? What am I doing? Right. So observe how this stuckness is making you feel right now. What I want you to do after that, I want you to begin to shift your focus. So if this is a weight loss example right here, instead of focusing on the number on the scale, I want you to slightly shift your focus. See yourself as that hamster turning in a different direction, shifting your focus somewhere else. So maybe you shift your focus to, I'm going to make one healthy choice at a time. I'm going to decide that I'm going to exercise for about 15 minutes today. I'm going to eat a healthy snack. I'm going to go to bed at a decent time and a decent hour, and envision every healthy choice as you pushing on that ball in a different direction. Can you see that? Envision yourself pushing that ball in a different direction and picking up speed with one healthy choice at a time. Over time, what you're going to figure out is that as you are making these healthy choices, you're going to start to gain some energy and speed and momentum and confidence in that, because you're going to recognize that going to sleep at a different time is connected to weight loss. Making a healthy choice in terms of decision of what we pick up to eat, because we're practicing every time we eat. But if we're eating chips and cookies at every meal, then we're practicing eating, but the decisions that we're making aren't going to lead to the goal that we're going for. So if we decide we're going to make one healthy choice at a time when we pick up our snacks, and you look at that as momentum and speed and fuel, over time, when you come back towards this hurdle, which in this example is your number on the scale, you're going to have enough speed and momentum in a different direction that you're going to clear that obstacle. The next time you step on that scale, things will begin to look different. But it's not going to be because of your focus on the number. OK, I hope that makes sense. So using that weight loss goal, shifting your focus, observing how you feel, and going at it from a different angle. The hamster started moving when she stopped pushing on the thing that she was stuck at. She moved when she turned the other direction, and she had enough speed and momentum to clear it. Same thing's going to happen for you here. Let's say you're stuck in your passion and your purpose. Let's use that as an example. You don't quite know what it is that you want to do. You know, you have a lot of dreams and desires and gifts and goals, but it's like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed because I don't know where to begin. So I'm stuck because I have so many different talents, so many different ways I can go. I don't know which direction to go. So again, observe how that stuckness is making you feel. as you're thinking about your passion, your purpose, your dream job, and if it's feeling overwhelming to think about because you don't know what to do first, stop. Remove the focus on having to figure out what it is that you need to be doing and what it is that you're going to ultimately do, and observe how that's making you feel. If you're more stressed out, let's pivot a little bit. Let's go a different direction. So what I want you to do is spend more time doing things that make you happy, right? A lot of times your passion, your purpose is connected to spending more of the time doing the things that you love to do. So if you love to cook, if you love to sing, if you love to write, if you love to dance, I want to make sure that you're not just trying to figure out how I'm going to get on Top Chef. You're not just trying to figure out how I'm going to get on America's Got Talent. Those things are stressing you out. You just need to figure out, how am I going to spend more time working on my craft? How can I spend more time at home singing in the shower? How can I spend more time at home writing a new song, writing a new script? I want you to just get away from the thing that's making you stuck. Pivot to the place that's going to allow speed and momentum so you can get excited and build some energy around that. And once you shift your focus to that and you start enjoying that, you start getting happy in that process, you start picking up speed and confidence in that process, you start to see some things transpire from that process. Practice makes progress. Once you start to see movement there, that is going to be the fuel that you need to cross over to understanding and unlocking what it is that you're trying to do. Okay? So you're going to use this acronym in situations when you feel stuck. You stop, you observe, and you shift. All right? Because we've all been where that hamster was. That's the truth. And we've all been to a place where we've been stuck, where we felt like we don't know what to do next, where we have all these ideas, these gifts, these talents, and we're just like, gosh, I just don't know how to get this stuff out of me. Right? We've all been there. Whether that's in your relationship, in your marriage, in your health, your physical health, mental health, spiritual health, in your business plan and ideas, whatever it is, we've all been stuck. So I need you to give yourself permission to put some things down, focus and shift your attention. Because the reality is, if we notice, the hamster didn't solve her problem by pushing against it. She didn't. She didn't solve her problem by pushing the ball against the carpet that wasn't moving. She solved her problem by letting go, shifting her attention and focus, building momentum, and having enough of that to clear it. That's the same for us, guys. If you have been stuck for a while pushing against something that's not moving and that hasn't moved, it's not likely that you're going to solve that problem by staying there pushing on the wall. You got to learn how to pivot and look a different direction. You got to learn how to shift that energy and that focus somewhere else. Because she was exerting energy. That hamster was working. Now, you couldn't tell me she wasn't pushing against that ball. She was pushing, but it wasn't moving. She used that same amount of push and effort when she pushed into a different way that was cleared out. There wasn't so much resistance attached to one healthy choice at a time. There's not going to be as much resistance attached to just doing what I enjoy doing. Having to solve the problem is the hardest part. You don't have to figure that out. You don't have to figure that out. You just got to get moving. You got to allow for movement here, okay? So you could be exerting the same amount of energy and effort and change nothing. Or you can exert that same amount of energy and effort and move a long ways ahead. Okay, that's what I want for my Mental Fitness Matters community. And what you're going to notice is over time, if you practice stopping and shifting your energy and focus when you start to feel stuck, when you come up against obstacles, this is not about going through life and never feeling stuck or ever having a challenge. It's about recognizing, like the hamster did. After she did that a couple times, she started to remember, you know what, when I practiced going a different direction, I picked up a little speed. I didn't have to spend as much time being stuck. So that's what it's about. It's about getting into a deliberate practice of recognizing when I'm stuck, what are some things that work for me to get me unstuck? And a lot of times it was shifting my focus and energy to another place. Anytime I'm working on things for my business, for my health, or whatever I'm doing, if I get stuck in a place, I shift my interest and my focus on things that I love because I know I can pick up energy and momentum from that. And that's the fuel that I need to take into whatever the project is ahead of me, right? So I want you guys to get on that focus in the same way. Recognize that being deliberate in your practice is going to help you build the mental muscle that you need to get over the hurdle and the hump, okay? So build that momentum in a different direction. Allow yourself permission to stop, whatever it is that you're stuck in. Allow yourself permission to observe and acknowledge, are the thoughts, the feelings, and the behaviors I'm having right now, are these something that I want to continue to rehearse and practice? Yes or no? If it's going great, keep it up. If it's not, make a change. Let that last SB shift your energy and your focus onto something that's got a lot more free-flowing energy behind it, and allow that to be the thing that carries you over the hump that you're faced with, okay? So it could be one healthy choice at a time. It could be deciding to be deliberate about your bedtime. It could be phone time, screen time, whatever you want it to be, guys. I want you to go out here and practice this SOS for the week, all right? I can't say thank you enough to my Mental Fitness Matters community. I cannot wait to see you guys next week. Go out, shine bright like the stars that you are. I'll see y'all guys next week. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us today on Mental Fitness Matters. Tune in every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. for more tips, tools, strategies, and solutions that will help you reach your peak mental fitness. My name is Tracy Alston, and you've been listening to Mental Fitness Matters.